Hi, Claire. How are you, Claire? Hi, Sham Sundar. How are you doing?
गुड इवनिंग मैम।
Good evening. कहाँ से हैं आप? Where are you?
हम धारवाड़ से हैं मैडम, धारवाड़ से। धारवाड़ फ्रॉम हुबली धारवाड़, सुना है ना आपने? कर्नाटका, कर्नाटक से।
Wonderful. Namaste.
थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू।
Thank you. Hi, Claire. Hi, Beena. Hi, Deepika. Okay, let's start with the topic today. And let me take you to the slides first. You'll have to give me the sharing rights, Siri. Thank you. Siri, you'll have to give me sharing rights for my PowerPoints. Thank you so much. Okay. So good evening, everybody. It's 5 o'clock in the evening and a perfect time to sit down with a cup of tea and get to understand how to connect with our family members. And I love this topic because without this, there is no life, really. And in a broad spectrum, if we look at it, I'm not even looking at the family members. How about 70 trillion cells inside your body that you also need to connect with? So you need to connect with your inner army of cells and the outer strength that you get from your family members. I want to acknowledge Get Set Up and what it brings for all of us. I'm your host today, Dr. Anu Mehta, and Thiri is my TA today for the next 1 hour. Deeply acknowledge her presence in my life and right now on this platform. This is an amazing platform for older adults where we connect together, we sing together, we smile together, we laugh together, we cook together, we dance together, and we learn to live our life in a more empowered manner. And every time you get empowered, Get Set Up really feels amazing about it. So for the next 1 hour, we're going to be talking about how to learn how to bond well with the family members. And just when I'm reading this, I want all of you to write down. Let's pick up the words from here. Bond means. What do you think family means? Thank you very much. So I just want you to write down in the chat box, what do you think bond means and what do you think family means? The object of today's session is that our family or a happy family is a destination which is where everyone wants to reach. Yeah, it's literally a destination where all of us want to reach. A happy family syndrome. And many houses, many people sitting at home don't feel happy. No matter what happens, they may have a beautiful home, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they have a family which is happy over there. And we need to create good environment inside the home. Now, what is a home is a very debatable issue, and let's also look at that. Share love and joy with the family members, which is what is expected and the glue that helps people to bond with each other. And let's see how we can enhance that and what we can understand about love and joy and about the family members. So if there is one thing that you are hoping to learn today, what would that be? If you put it down in the chat box, that would be really, really helpful. So I'm going to do first. Okay, so I hope you have written something in the chat. I had requested. Okay, no answers. Okay, let's look at everybody and if they can look around in their life and give me the meaning of the word bond. What do you think is the word bond meaning? Family bonding. What does the word bond mean? Hi Vaidehi, hi Bela, hi Lily, Deepika, Veena, Claire. Anybody you want to speak about it, you can unmute yourself. Can I make a request? Other than my TA theory, I can't see anyone's face. And literally, I feel I'm talking to closed windows. If it would be great if I could see you guys. And if you can keep your windows on, that helps me to build a rapport and helps me to connect with all of you. Okay. Deepika says bond is all about caring. Okay, Deepika, can I see your face? Thank you, Binaji. Really, thank you. Okay. So when we're looking at bond, we're always saying the bond should be that one of caring. It's an entitlement. I want my family to connect together with love and affection. It's something that we take it so much for granted. We think aisa to hona hi hai. This is how it should be. And what do we find in the families? Is this how it is? And yet they're bonded with each other. Are all the bonds that of love and happiness? And if not, then what are the other kind of bonds that we have within the family? Bina says, bonds mean concern for each other. Family is a group of people of close relationships. Absolutely, Bina, and brilliantly said once again. We expect family to get along with each other. We expect the bond to be that of caring, love, and joy. It's an expectation. And wherever expectation comes and stands, the ego is bound to be there. Wherever expectation is standing, the ego is bound to be standing right there and saying, oh, it has to be just my way. So thank you so much for all of you writing, sharing our lives together, feeling connected with each other. Expectation should be less to be happy. Okay, expectations are expectations. Whether it's about being less happy, more happy, it's an expectation. And to be without expectation is rather difficult for anybody and everybody. So guys, the bond or the glue that holds the family together should be one of love and care and happiness. And why are we doing this topic if everybody is happy? Why do we even need to understand what to do about it? Because everybody's expecting here the bond to be a happy bond. The glue that's holding people together is great connections. Is that how it is in real life? Anybody who would love to play with me? Is that how it is in real life? Yes, no? It's not my experience, Lily says. Lily, can I borrow you for 5 minutes? Can we work together if that's okay with you? Thank you. It's not my, thank you so much, Lily. And if you can bring yourself on the camera and unmute yourself, it would be really lovely. Thank you again.
I'm willing to talk, but I'm in the States. It's very early here. I cannot come on camera, but I'm happy to talk. I'm happy if this can be helpful. Yes, so sorry. My apologies. It's just I woke up because I wanted to hear this program, but
Lily, don't be sorry. I am extremely grateful that you're ready to talk. So Lily, and I want all of you to now start thinking. are all our experiences with our mom and dad, and I will go back to mom and dad, are all our experiences with mom and dad happy? Lily, are all your experiences with your mom and dad happy?
No, and to a great degree, they have never been. But the short answer is no. If you want me, you could ask me questions. I can elaborate. But
Thank you. So, if the expectation is that my bond with my mom has to be only love and care, and the reality is it's not perfect, it's not always feeling like love, it's not always feeling like I'm cared for, then what did it feel like?
well, in my personal experience, I think the children were a burden. um, I, I think that they were a burden. I'm not sure she understood, or they understood, my parents understood what they were getting involved in when they had children. So I think they were overwhelmed. And this is a little bit about my background. They were also immigrants, so it was very stressful. So I think between the external stresses of that world, and then perhaps not the best suited marriage. So it was, yes, I don't know. I can answer. Yeah, I don't want to go on and on. I think you get the picture, but if you want me to just ask me questions, I'll
You're
answer.
just doing so beautifully well that I just kept quiet and kept hearing you out.
Yeah.
So I want all of us to get right now the first rule of the game. And Lily, I'm just going to mute you and bring you back again. The first rule of the game is that we have expectations of how the bond in the family should be. We have expectations that when a man and a woman get married, there has to be love. There has to be joy. There has to be happiness. There have to be babies. And we say babies will bond everything. The reality may be that the parents may be going through so much in their space that they bought into this advertisement of family and kids, and they may not be resourced enough to take care of those kids. And the kids might feel as if they're a burden. So I'll give you two examples here, and I'm very, very grateful for Lily to kind of connect with this and give me a flow with where I can take this session further. So really grateful, Lily, for sharing your experience. I know of someone who wanted to buy a dog. Their daughter is 14 years of age. The daughter goes to the mom and says, I want a dog, mama. I want a dog, mama. Mom says, no, I'm scared of the dog. I can't get the dog. Father says, I'm not very fond of the dogs. The baby is going on. I want a dog, I want a dog, I want a dog. This goes on for more than a year. They take the child to the adoption places. They take the child to play with dogs which are not kept at home, but the child can actually have her experiences with the dogs. But now those experiences are making her feel and believe even more that she wants a dog. No, I want a dog, I want a dog, I want a dog. And parents want to see her happy because the expectation is that if I give my child everything, the child will be happy. If I give my child everything that they ask for, my child is going to be happy. And that makes me feel I created the bond of happiness and love and joy. How nice. How beautiful. Let's see what happens. It's been 15 days. They went and bought a dog. No, let me go a little bit before that. They went and picked up a dog, which was not so expensive. So the family was really happy that they didn't have to spend so much. And they booked the dog. And they said, we're bringing the dog back home. They went and brought the the place to sleep for the dog, everything, the toys, the food. You think about it, everything was not home. The girl was very happy, the 14-year-old. Of course, the dog was coming home. And then this place from where they were going to get dogs suddenly gives them a call and says, no, sorry, we can't give you this dog. And the girl starts crying. I want this dog. I want this dog. I want this dog. This is mine. I fell in love with the dog. But the dog is not sent home, and they are told that dog has got hip dysplasia, which means the dog cannot walk properly, and they've just discovered that. They would like to not get, it would be better for them if they didn't get a dog, which could then have health issues and major health issues later. Okay, does the story stop there? Not really. The girl says, I want a dog. Now there's even more crying and howling happening at home. Parents can see that the child, their only daughter, is so unhappy. So what do? They go and get another dog. But this time they're ready to pay every price to get that dog. After all, when they get the dog, the girl is going to be smiling. And when the girl smiles, there's going to be happiness, joy, and the bonding in the family. You get my point, don't you? All of you? Wonderful. The dog comes home. Of course, the toys had come before, the bed had come before, the food had come before, or the other dog, but now this little puppy comes home. The puppy is only 16 weeks old. Beautiful puppy, golden in color. Oh my God, so amazing. And everybody's playing, everybody's showing off my dog, and family looks like a perfect picture. Mom, dad, their daughter who's 14 years of age, and the little new puppy, he's a boy, so a male dog, so her little brother. She promises, I will do everything. I will take him for a walk, I will feed him, I will do everything possible. After all, I got to form this bond with this little beautiful life. Day one, she's sleeping in the same couch around where the dog is, because they have been told not to put the dog in the AC. That may not be good for dog's health. You must be wondering, why am I talking about dogs when we're talking about family bond? Just keep listening. By morning, she has not slept at all, this 14-year-old, because, oh my God, bonding doesn't just happen so easily, does it? You got to be really forming a rapport with the dog to form that bond. Day two, 14-year-old is tired, but she says, I must sleep in the same room where my brother is. Day three, she goes to her father and says, I'm really tired. Dad, can you look after my brother today? Day four, Dad, I'm really tired. Can you take him out for a walk? I stop here. I want you to now sketch up the story of how we bring our children home, how we bring ourselves home, and how we bond. The expectation that she had from herself and the promises that she made to herself, the 14-year-old, did they get fulfilled? Anybody who will answer me, why did I tell you this story about family bonding? In the family bonding. Anybody who would like to go back and look at the story and see how does it connect? Rhoda. We have got.
I didn't hear all of it, but I can just kind of, from what I heard.
Okay.
Family bonding is something that grows on you. You have to be taught right at the beginning. And what is practical is different from what is actually in your head. You know, you think something, you want something, you want to be what you're thinking you'll be. But practically, it's another story. And when you read of stories and you know your friends have and somebody else has and everything, it all looks very nice from outside. But when you actually get down to do the job, the nitty gritty is like when I worked in the airline, I worked for 33 years with Air India. Everybody thought it was such a, glamorous job. Oh, fantastic, amazing. You have these beautiful saris. You wear pearls, you wear your top knot. I mean, you look so good all the time. And how do you manage it and all? I know what I went through. I mean, it's what you see is not what you get.
Thank you. So all that glitters is not
Gold.
Yay!
No. Not at all.
No. It isn't. And it isn't because it feels as if they were giving us an advertisement of what ideal family is. An ideal family must be able to give the child everything. An ideal child should be able to give their parents everything.
There is nothing like ideal family.
So it's the same way that we might look at, if you're single, you might want to have a companion. And then you say, no, I really want. And you might work on it for the next 1 year. But when you really get that, it doesn't feel the same. Yes. You might want to go to your favorite restaurant and eat. You have an expectation in your head. And you may save up money because that's a really expensive restaurant. You go sit there with your family and you're saying, today's my daughter's birthday. I really want to treat her. You save this money and we all go together. An ideal picture, you've saved money, you're going to the most restaurant, which is the most expensive one. Everybody sitting together. But your son is on his mobile. Your daughter whose birthday is there is on her phone talking to her friends and saying, yeah, I know, mom, but mom wanted me to come out not today. We'll do it tomorrow. Mom wanted me to come out. And maybe people are looking at their watch and saying, Mom, can we do this fast so we can do something else after this? What's going to happen to you? Where does your bond go? Where does the glue of love go? What happens? What happens when these kind of things happen? You really starved yourself to give your family that meal, that place where you're going to connect to them. After all, you go to all these mantras that family must sit down and eat together. And it's like, kuch nahi, nothing. Things just aren't going the way you thought they will go in your head. What happens then? Manjushri, what happens then? Deepika, what happens then? Sham Sundarji, what happens? Kiran, Jyotsna, what happens when things do not go according to when you've planned, you've done things, you've done everything, you got that job, you want
We get irritated, Anuti, we get irritated, we get wild
upset.
or
Disappointed.
antibody
They
ban
are
jati hai.
disappointed actually.
Thank you. I can hear two voices.
No,
Yes,
Jyotsna.
Jyotsna.
The same thing happened in my daughter's house. My granddaughter wanted a dog, but the funniest part is she's telling her mother, "Why are you working? You stay at home and look after my dog because I want a dog in the house." See, this is today's children,
Exactly.
and we were very, very, very happy with few things. You remember your childhood. Don't go
Yes.
far.
Yes,
We did not have all these gadgets, but you were very, very happy.
yes.
Spoiling our children. We are not giving them everything. And now what she wants, you want to hear? Will you be able
Yes.
to? You will.
The point is not, the point is,
Now
the
she
point
wants
that
a horse.
Jyotsna, the point that I'm trying to make is,
You wanted a horse.
no matter what you give, there has to be a responsibility that is also connected with having something in your life. And with responsibility comes expectations. And the minute you have expectations, even if they are good ones, like we have in everybody's sentence, the bond means it has to be happy. We are selling ourselves that advertisement. But what's the reality? Are all families happy? And if they're not, we haven't told our children that, you know what, mom and dad are not perfect. And they can have difference of opinion. And that's okay. Mom and dad can have fights. And that's okay. That doesn't mean mom and dad are going to separate out. Mom and dad can shout at you and not give you certain things, but that doesn't mean that they don't love each other. Love is like that. How easy it would have been for our children. But the advertisement that we have given is the bond should be like sugar, like a cake in the birthday where you see it and your mouth waters and you want to eat it. The reality is when they go to eat it, they're getting diabetes. It's not working for them. Why is it not working? Because somewhere our expectation is it should be like this. Is it really like this? And if it is not like this, then why for centuries have we been selling this image of a perfect family and a perfect bond? Okay, that was to do with the bond. I hope this is not James Bond 007. We are looking at the bond of glue that connects the families together. And I know, and you know, many, many families which anger is often the glue that holds them together. Unhappiness is often the glue that holds it together. Any idea why these families are still functioning? They may be dysfunctional, but they're still functioning. ऐसा क्या है जिसकी वजह से these families are still functioning? They are dysfunctional, but they're still functioning. How can they function and why are they functioning? Any idea? Anybody? Beena, Jyotsna?
One thing I want to share,
Please.
my father used to say, this affection always flows downwards. And when I became the parent, I also realized the same. Affection always flows downwards.
Wonderful. And could you explain that a little bit more? And I can't, Deepika. Is that Deepika speaking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
can we put the camera on?
No, not right now.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
Actually, parents don't expect anything from their kids. What do I feel? Their affection, that is the thing that works for their kids. And whereas if we expect the same from the kids, we get disappointed because that can't be there.
Thank you, Deepika. What Deepika means to say is she has a belief that children do not, and children can have expectations of their parents, but parents cannot have expectations of their children. Is that really true, guys?
Not at all. Not at all. Of course, parents have expectation of their children. All parents do.
Yes. But when she says love flows from the top, she means to say that mother and father give birth to a child. The child can never birth his father or mother back again. Got it? So I hope I'm making this concept extremely clear for you. The mother and father can do things for the child is because one thing that they do for the child is that they bring them into this world. The union of mom and dad brings the child into this world. The child can never bring the parent back into this world, can never keep the parent inside him to give birth to the parent. So it has to come from the mountain, the water comes, snow comes down and then becomes the river. The river, the water never goes back to the mountain. That's what she meant to say, that the idealistic situation is, this is how it should be. But really, do we live in an idealistic world? And Rhoda said, no, not at all. Sham Sundar saying, excuse me, ma'am, I have some unexpected guest arriving. No problem, Sham Sundar, see you again. And please do keep connecting with us. Rhoda, anything that you were saying at that time? You would like to
No,
continue?
I just said that every parent has expectation. Every parent expects a child, and moreover, they live their life through the children. What they didn't achieve, they want the children to achieve in many cases.
Yeah, I mean, we have expectations, don't we? Right from the
Of
time
course.
the child is inside the mother's womb, the mother says, my child should look like this. All of us want perfect children. All of us want children who are
Yeah.
able. All of us are dreaming of the perfect looking child. Perfect brain, they should have perfect womb, they should be inside. When they come out, they should look perfect. We don't go and pick up a child whose legs are broken from an orphanage and say, this is the child I want. We want perfect pictures. It's because a perfect picture, the bond, the family should have a perfect story. So what do we have to understand first thing? I want you to take 2 minutes, 2 seconds and think of the expectations that you have from yourself. Like this girl had expectation, the 14-year-old, that she will be able to take the dog for a walk. She will be able to sleep with the dog. She will be able to take care of him all by herself, and she will dedicate and be committed. What kind of expectations do you have for yourself and your family? Can you put them down? Think of it, at least 2 or 1. Can you put it in the chat? I would like, just put 2 words. I would like this and this. I think my expectation from my family, from myself, from my family is, and let me start. My expectation for my family is to stand up for them if they are not okay. To be a pillar of support. My expectation of myself is authenticity. Yes, who's speaking?
No, this is Lily, Anya. I was going to say, if your expectation is that you would be a pillar of support for your family, are you talking about your children, or are you a child in this case, or a parent? And then would you expect the same from them?
Exactly, Lily. I've often heard people say what expectation they have of themselves is exactly what they expect of the other person, whether it's their child, whether it's their husband, that they will stand by them in the same way. Which is why it's so important for us to write down what's an expectation we have of ourselves for our family. And when they cannot return back what we have in mind or what we can do for them, is when we get disappointed. Does that make sense, Lily?
I think what I hear you saying is that when whatever our expectations are, when reality does not meet our expectations, we become very disappointed. And you said earlier something about, well, even if a family is dysfunctional, it's functional. I'm not sure I understand that, meaning if a family is dysfunctional, it may go on as a family, but then I would ask, for example, if there's violence in the home, if there's sexual abuse in the home,
Thank you for asking.
if there's emotional and physical, and these are not unusual things.
No,
These
they're
are not.
They're not.
So in that case, whether it be between spouses or between caretakers and children, all, physical, emotional, sexual, and other whatever kind of violences there are, I'm not understanding if that. I don't understand how that kind of family could be characterized as functional. I don't think I understand.
Thank you so much, Lily, for that question. It's a brilliant question. When I said it's functional, I meant to say the family does not dissolve completely. There's something holding the family together still. And I personally work with sexually abused kids, where not just that uncle has abused them, but it could be the father who's touched them or the mother who's touched them. I also work with women who are brutally beaten up.
But is it in, okay, practicalities aside, money aside, because there's practical issues, we understand that.
Yes.
But if practical issues were put aside, is it good for them to stay in that environment?
No, it isn't. We are not talking about good or bad.
Well, then
I haven't even started speaking about good or bad. What I'm talking here I'm not talking about moral yardstick at all. What I'm talking here is what makes me understand, like when I work with these children who have sexually abused by their fathers, they still continue staying there. Though it's dysfunctional, it seems as if something is still working for everybody over there. And that's not good. That's not even nice. But that's how it is.
Is it fear?
Well, humans have a fear of change, and the child parent bond is primitive. It's animals have it. We come out wanting to be with caretakers, and the ability to leave a caretaker as a young person is very difficult, even if it's in the again, obviously there are practical things like money and caretaking. You know, a 2-year-old child cannot walk out the door. But that aside, if there were a better environment for that child, it may be better for that child, but that child may not perceive it as such, because that child has this sort of attachment to their parents, even if they're abused by them. And battered women, battered wives have attachments to husbands that beat them, but and oftentimes, sometimes they stay because of the money, but oftentimes, even if the money is not a problem, it's very difficult for them to leave.
Thank you so much. That's exactly what I meant. Something is holding them together. So even when they're dysfunctional, I am interested in knowing that even if the bond is the one of harassment, beating, sexual abuse, what's keeping them together? What's keeping those 4 people together? If there is, and this happens in the best of the places and the worst of the places. And it doesn't stop there. When the child from such a home walks out, he could then go back and create similar structures in their marriages. What is keeping that behavior alive? And how come that behavior is still alive when it is so wrong? And why?
I think what they say, that we have this thing called repetition compulsion, that somehow we have this fantasy, and I don't mean that many of us, if not all of us, have this desire to make it right, like a child wants to make things right. And even though we chronologically age, that desire to make it right doesn't stop. And so we go into situations to try to make it right.
Absolutely. We are always wanting to survive. And this is something I did today morning. We are always wanting to survive. This is what they belong to. The need of belonging. Our first need on this planet Earth is that of belonging. If my mother beats me up 4 times, she gives me love once. And I only know that kind of love and belonging. Sadly enough. I'm going to take you to a slide which really caught my attention. And what we're talking here about is boundaries. What we're talking here about is family and the boundaries. Can we get that, guys? I picked up a very big topic, but what was really interesting, we just went with the word bond. Our first expectation is that the bond has to be always brilliant, perfect child, perfect husband, perfect spouse, perfect parents. But somewhere our spirit, our karmas, if we have to go into the past lives and stuff like that, and into karma and into all that kind of a thing, then why is the soul taking birth in a place where there's going to be sexual abuse, there's going to be brutality around them, and what's really happening at a very, very deep level? Okay, and that's something, if we look at, I'm not saying it's good or bad, it isn't good, but such things exist. And can our society be a happy society if we reject that part of it? Can it be a happy society if we reject that part of it? Is it possible? Is it possible for our family to be, is it possible for us to be happy if we just reject that part of the society which is not having a perfect bond? A bond is a bond, whether it's perfect or it's an imperfect bond. A family is a family, whether it's perfect or it's imperfect. Can we get that first thing? Our expectation that everything is going to be perfect is keeping us in a very, very unhappy place. Let's take to the next one. Okay. Do we set boundaries with our families? And what are boundaries? What are boundaries, guys? How many times has there been when we want to say, no, I don't want to do this? Your husband says to you, can you, darling, come with me? My family is going out together. And let's go for a family holiday together where everybody's together. Perfect bond of happiness and joy. And you may want to say, no, I just want to go out with you. But what happens? Are you able to say no? How many of you are able to say no? Or how many of you are saying yes when you actually want to say no? How many of you on this forum are actually saying yes when you want to say no? I have a lot of messages coming here, and I'm really happy that I'm making you think. And my kids will continue to be in touch with us regularly. Yes, that's an expectation again. So when they are not, then you know something is wrong or it's an unhappy place. And I'm not saying, hey, they shouldn't. I'm just making you aware these are our expectations. Taking interest in each other's activity. Each and every member has an expectation, whether human being or an animal. Absolutely. Supporting each other is important. That's what we think. Family must support each other, should support each other. And when they don't, that's when we feel hurt. My kids are there for us and we are there for them. Yes, absolutely. But are they really there for you, and are you really there for them physically? Rhoda, are they really next to you?
No, they're not, but they keep in touch every day on the phone. So I'm hoping that will continue. I don't know for how long. As long as it does, it will be great. That's all.
Yes. And what you're saying is that sharing with each other absolutely helps.
Yeah.
But we need to say this you need to understand that they're not physically in the same space, and you do understand that. But when someone else reads that statement, it sounds as if we are living in the same house. We are connected so beautifully. And somewhere there's a little bit of inauthenticity in that statement, because we are not physically in one space, though we are mentally and emotionally standing by each other. And that's so beautifully you brought out and said that we are there for each other. Especially in India, the girl is being abused. I know. Not just girls are being abused. There are many, many boys who are getting abused and they don't even come out and talk in open. There are many men who are getting abused at the workplace, not just sexually, but emotionally. The job loss had just happened and people are just told, okay, fine, sweetheart, from tomorrow you don't come. And they can never stand back again. So there is a lot of stuff happening around the men too, even sexually, that we are not even aware of and don't want to see. Again, this is an area which is a closed area. We close our eyes to so many things. And then we dream of a happy family. We can only be a happy family when we accept the bad and the good and glue that together and say, if there is a day, then there is night. If there is a morning, then there is an evening. And life is about all these shades. It's not about one color in our life. Then you think children do what they see while growing up. Absolutely, Rhoda. So we become their role models. Boundaries. Okay, so we were talking about boundaries. How many of you believe boundaries are important? Okay, can you talk about it, Rhoda?
Boundaries are when you say no and you mean no when your personal space is violated. You know, when you're able to keep people at a distance when you actually want to, because very often it's hard to do that.
Thank you for that. So even though we want to say a no, how many of us are not saying no, and everybody over here because nobody's put even a message down? Isn't
That is one of the most difficult things, you know.
Yes.
Especially in a family oriented thing, when you actually mean no and to keep to that no.
Then how can any abuse stop?
You know?
How can any abuse stop? Because the first step of abuse is, or safety is, the first rule of safety is I should be able to say no when I want to say no. The neuroceptors in my body, and please do go and research what neuroceptors are. Neuroceptors are older than your sympathetic system, where your fight or flight is happening. The oldest system of our body is called the neuroceptors, which are all about the child. A newly born baby knows which sound, who is not safe for him or her. And what does the child do? You try giving the baby to a stranger, the baby moves its body. What is the child saying? I'm feeling safe with my mother. And as you grow up, the child is made to say, no, that's auntie. You must go and say hello to her. It doesn't matter whether you're feeling safe or you're feeling unsafe. You want to say a no, but you'll end up saying a yes. And you say yes because you know if you said no, so many people would be in disharmony. So many people would take it personally and say, you rejected me. It wasn't about them at all. It was about not feeling safe. How many of you can relate to this? This concept, which is so important in your families, where your children can come and actually tell you, no, mom, I don't feel like doing this. And you respecting it. And you going and telling your children, I don't feel nice about doing this. And your child not taking it personally and saying, yeah, I get that. That's okay. Isn't that the kind of understanding that we're looking for? Deep, 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 deep down in our core, we are looking for safety in the family. Yes, Lily? Anybody else wants to contribute here?
Yeah, I guess I'm getting a little confused, Anya, because yes, it seems like if you were to draw a boundary, then you may feel better, but the family may not feel better.
Yes.
And then at the same time, you're saying that, well, perhaps the idea of a happy family is a setup for disappointment. There is no such thing. And that maybe the dysfunction of a family, maybe all the dysfunctions of a family are by definition a family. I mean, that's just the reality that families are mixed in things, which I think realistically they are mixed.
Mhm.
But I guess what I'm not understanding is that there is a bond, because I think people come out of the wound with a bond.
Yes.
But I guess I'm getting confused as,
Yes.
so is it just sort of like the acceptance of the good and the bad, the dark and the light, and that it is what it is? If you set a boundary, you upset things. If you don't set a boundary, you upset yourself. But so here we are, if it's a family of four, here we are all dancing this sort of dysfunctional dance of talking about things, not talking about things, sometimes drawing boundaries, sometimes not, sometimes being upset about each other, sometimes not, but yet somehow we stay together. But is that together really, I don't want to get this to be a larger discussion, but oftentimes the families stay together for economic reasons.
Can I help you out with that, Lily?
Mhm.
And I'll get you Bina over here. What I'm trying to say, and when you are talking about good and bad, and I said that before also, I'm not talking about good and bad. I'm not talking about two extremes. I'm talking here about not black and white. This is a distortion. A black and white is a distortion that I teach people, that this is how we see things. What I'm trying to say is that our society has got all the shades, not just black and white. And somehow the bond of the family is so strong that no matter whether there is abuse there is love there is, a middle kind of a bridge, yet something is making these families bond together and move together. Because for us, at a very primitive level, we need to feel belonged. And the family is the first institution that gives us that belonging, even if it's not functional in the way that we describe it to be functional. Is that clear, Lily?
I understand what you're saying. I guess I would like, I'm not sure I agree with that though. Like, for example, a battered wife. I mean, to stay in that kind of situation, I mean, it's so difficult to leave, but to stay, I questioned it. I questioned the logic of staying because there's a bond.
That's exactly
Um,
what I'm saying, Lily, that it's amazing that people still stay. That's what I'm trying to bring attention to.
But not everyone does. A small
Not everybody
percentage of people
does.
don't.
And they
Yes.
shouldn't. Logically, they shouldn't, but people stay. And that's what I'm bringing your attention to.
Security, what is it?
It's a need to belong. It's a need to belong. And that is connected with our basic survival. And the second need of our basic survival is to feel safe. But you cannot feel safe without a boundary. And yes.
But I think people oftentimes stay in dangerous situations with the illusion, with the desire to feel safe, but they are not safe.
Absolutely,
And-
that's exactly what I'm saying. That people have a delusion of being safe because they sell this whole picture outside to the world. My family, everything is perfect. I've heard so many, and this is coming not just from, a book or something. This is coming from experience, where I often look at children who were sexually touched by their fathers or in a very difficult place. They may not be staying in the same physical environment, but nobody's disowned anybody. Everybody's still part of the whole. And that's what is so amazing. How did that happen? Let's bring Beena in and let's hear what she has to say. And I'm just going to let my dog go out. Yes, stop crying now. Yes, Beena ji. It's lovely to have. Thank you, Lily, for that, because it just makes it even more interesting when we are talking about it. I'm not just giving something. Yes, Beena ji.
Yeah, sometimes it happens that our family, we want, as a woman and the head of the family, we will think we should keep up with all type of relations, and
Yes.
our children are not at all interested.
Yes.
They go to the same city, but they will not call them, and
Yes.
then we feel hurt also. But then we
Yes.
have to accept it. We can't quarrel with them. We can't scold them. Why you have not done this, that? Because we want a bonding. Otherwise, they will be a little far from us. They will think, oh, they are obstructing our freedom.
Yes.
That way, we have to be very liberal to get a bonding.
Thank you, Beena ji, for that. Instead of being liberal, we have to stop making it about ourselves. What did you say? I feel bad. And you say, we feel bad. If I said the whole statement that you said with I feel bad when they do not connect with people who are important for me. They are important for you. They are not important for them. And you feel bad about those people not being important for them. But why are you feeling bad? You're feeling bad because you make their actions about you.
Looking good.
Yes. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Looking good does not allow you to have a boundary. And that is the biggest cause of dysfunction in a family. Now I'm binding the two things together. The boundary issues that we are talking about, even when people are not safe, we are forcing them to do something. Children may come and say, I don't want to get married. No, it'll be brilliant. You need a companion. Oh, mommy, I don't want to have a child. No, you must. What are we creating over there? We are creating a space where they are not allowed to say a no. And when they actually say a no, and they don't want to live with the man anymore, that's Lily's talking about, or they don't want to be in that abusive, dysfunctional family, where have they taken a decision in the first place to create that in their real adult life? They haven't. So the whole thing is about, okay, I have been told to do this and I have to do this. If I don't do this, somebody's going to be unhappy. Lily, does that resonate with you now?
Yes, I think that yes, there's enormous social pressure, family pressure to appear a certain way and to hide all the things. I mean, how many people wear makeup to hide the bruises? How many children stay silent even if there's an opportunity to say that they're being abused at home? Many will not. So the loyalty to society or family's expectations is enormous. But I feel as though, I guess what I'm getting confused is that I feel as though you're saying, well, that is life and that is
No,
acceptable.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this is, if we are looking at the bond and saying, oh, it's all Christmas, it isn't. We need to also look at the other part where there's nothing happening. There is a lot of chaos, and yet people are in that space because they want to hide and conceal everything, like we conceal with the concealer, our makeup. We want to wear the best clothes and go out, and we want to tell everyone we are okay because they still don't feel safe. The world isn't a safe place for them to come out and say, hey, I don't have a family. You know, it's like saying, in Hindi, we have this a phrase, besahara ko tinka hi kafi hai. It means that somebody who is helpless, for them, even a small finger somebody puts across and holding is enough for them. We never know why people are there together, even when there's dysfunctional. And there is every research that shows it could be that this need to belong and survive is so strong that we conceal all our pain underneath. So the first priority and first expectation that we have is that we should be safe. And if we are safe, then the family can be a happy family. For us, we haven't done things to make ourselves safe. We are doing things to create harmony, but not safety. So what do we need to do? Do we need to continue living a disharmonious life, or do we need to start creating safety? And last 1 minute, I'm going to ask you guys, what can you do to create your safety? What can you do to make yourself safe? Feel safe with your husband, feel safe with your child, feel safe, or tell someone that you're not safe. How can you come out of the closet and tell someone, this is not safe for me. I cannot do this anymore. Ask for help. How many of us have never asked for help because we feel shame before telling the other person that I'm not okay. Do you agree with that, or you don't agree with that, guys?
You're perfectly right.
So many of us are victims of our own doing, where we can't tell the world. And I'm coming from a place when I was sexually touched at the age of 6. I expected my mom and dad to help me out. I really did. They didn't even see it because they, in their mind, said, it's a perfect place that they are taking me to. It was a man who was old enough to be my grandfather. They couldn't think in their mind that a grandfather would do something like that. Was he my real grandfather? Not really. He was my father's relative, not even his grandfather. When we don't see into the places because we assume they are bright, then we don't look into the families and we assume all the bonds are happy and nice. We are doing disservice to ourselves and disservice to the other person. If we could create safety there. And my parents thought they had created safety. So how do you create safety? You create safety by communication. You create safety by having your body language that's that calm that your children can come and talk to you. You create that safety for your mother who's 80-year-old, who can even at 85 years of age tell you, I'm not okay, son. I'm not okay, daughter. And we need to really visit our expectations and see if we can revisit them and write our expectations rightly, because expectations you will have. But what can you do in your expectation, where expectation is not just of harmony, but of creating safety in the families? I picked up this topic saying, how can we create safety within the families?
Because don't trust too many old people, huh? Is that what you're saying? Oops. Don't trust too many old people.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Oh man.
Listen to your children when they say something.
I'm saying, don't just look and say, oh, this is safe. Don't just assume. If your child comes back home and says, I don't want to go there, they may be coming from a place of not being safe. If your parent is telling you, मुझे वहां नहीं जाना है, उनके घर जाके मजा नहीं आता है, वो servant जो घर पे आया is not okay, that servant who's come back home is not okay. Listen to your parent. Don't just look at your convenience. I'm saying learn to sense that your family may not be safe all the time, that you may be thinking they are safe. You get, guys? So we still function in this dysfunctional society, and we must be doing something right while doing it. Hold on to your survival kits because they are yours, and don't question them. But see if you can bring in a little bit of safety over there. And safety net always helps us. You don't sleep with your lock open. You don't sleep with your door open. So trusting. You don't, right? In the same way, how can you bring about safety for you rather than someone else getting safety? Identify what brings safety for you. So we've come almost to the end of the session, and I'm going to just pick up the last bit. I hope this brought you guys to thinking, oh my God, what is this about? We need to really increase the self-care by bringing about safety for ourselves. So today we looked at the family is a happy destination everybody wants to reach, but not everybody's family is a happy family. And when it's not, we can create good environment by creating safety in their house. How can we share love, joy with family members? But first thing, before sharing love and joy, how can we bring safety for them? And that question, if you can answer, how can you bring safety for them and for yourself? We could have more families who are happy and really bonded with each other with the glue of love and joy. And so do go and click on explore and find other classes that might interest you. Tomorrow in the evening at 5 o'clock, we will be doing sound healing. So if there is any trauma which is around not feeling safe with your family, we will put that intention out tomorrow and work with the sound, because some things cannot be spoken. And if they could be, we could have spoken by now and told our parents this is not safe for us. Somewhere we've kept quiet because we sensed that our parents will not accept that part of us, or our children will not accept that part of us. So let us let go of that part tomorrow in the evening at 5 o'clock. Please check your email for the feedback, and it would be great if you can give me feedback for today's session, because it will help me to navigate it further and help you to bring more interesting aspects back to you. Please share your experience, hashtag Get Set Up, at Get Set Up. If Get Set Up has made a difference in your life, please do share at social@getsetup.io. You can host an interest group by becoming an ambassador and by running a show for us, a session for us. Please do connect with help@getsetup.io. I hope you enjoyed this session. I love what Lily's ideas were, Rhoda's ideas was, and every one of you. I acknowledge each and every one of you on this platform. Love you all, and thank you for making it more wholesome, more connected. And I love to acknowledge Thiri over here, who's been here for the last 1 hour in this completely amazing space. And I, Dr. Anu Mehta, signing out right now. And thank you very, very much for all your love and everything that you bring over here. Love you all.